I've been using Korg nanoKontrol2 with Logic Pro for many years now, and especially with orchestral libraries, it's been very useful for me. But now I decided to build a new live keyboard rig, so for that I need extra controllers. My plan was to make a new separate setup for it, so it wouldn't mess up my assignments in Logic. But when I tried to do that, I realized the official Korg editor doesn't work in the latest macOS version. And I didn't have access to a Windows machine at that time, so it meant I was stuck with the settings inside this device. And honestly, I never liked the original editor anyway, so I decided to take matters into my own hands. For years I've been building my own tools and apps to use in my studio, so I decided to make a simple tool to solve this problem. That's why I designed NanoBridge. Now I can have as many presets as I want, like one for my orchestral template and one for my live keyboard rig. I can switch between them instantly using different shortcuts. I finally have proper visual feedback from the LEDs, and most importantly, I can edit multiple parameters at once, so it saves me a lot of time. Let me quickly run through the main features. First, on the preset side, you can create unlimited setups and easily rename or drag and drop to change their order. You can switch between them quietly using the Mac menu bar icon, or by routing another MIDI device, like a spare button on your MIDI keyboard, or even a Stream Deck. You can sacrifice buttons on the nanoKontrol itself to act as a preset switch. When you switch presets, the hardware LEDs will briefly flash to visually tell you which preset you just loaded. And the app remembers exactly which LEDs and toggles were active in that specific layout. So you never lose your place and you don't even have to look at the computer screen. There are also built-in pass-through and off modes to quickly bypass the app and use the device's internal configuration. And of course you can backup or share everything. Now on the editing side, you can remap any fader or button to be a completely different CC or a MIDI note, but more importantly, you can map them to program changes, which is something the original Korg editor doesn't let you do at all. There is also a radio group feature, where pressing one button automatically turns the other LEDs in that group off, perfect for switching instruments in different zones. Most importantly, to save time, you can use the batch mapper to assign multiple controllers sequentially in just a few seconds. Or you can shift-click to select multiple controls and edit them, or just copy and paste routings from one button to the rest of the board. And finally, you can turn on visual overlays to see all your inputs and outputs directly on the layout. Before I show you the interface, let me briefly explain how this actually works behind the scenes. Normally, when you plug in the nanoKontrol, it communicates directly with your computer over a standard MIDI in and out connection. If you use the official Korg editor, you use this connection to flash your custom settings directly into the physical memory of the hardware. That's why it's a little bit slow, and it's why you are stuck with just one layout at a time. NanoBridge takes a completely different approach. It doesn't flash anything to the device. It leaves the hardware in its current state. Instead, NanoBridge sits right in the middle. When you move a fader or press a button, the hardware just sends its raw default MIDI data. NanoBridge intercepts that data, alters it based on whatever preset you are currently on, handles all the LEDs, and then passes the processed data out through a virtual MIDI port. So in your music applications, you just select NanoBridge instead of nanoKontrol as your MIDI input and output. Just a quick note on this. nanoKontrol has different boot modes you can access by holding certain buttons on startup, like the control surface mode for standard DAW mixing. NanoBridge is designed to work exclusively when the controller is in its standard CC mode. To launch it in CC mode, you just hold set and cycle buttons while plugging your cable. Let's see how this actually works in practice. Right now I have two presets, one for Logic and one for my keyboard setup. First, let's look at Logic. In Logic's MIDI settings, I disable nanoKontrol completely. Then in the Control Assignments window, I select our virtual port NanoBridge. I do the same thing for all the assignments and I'm done. So now when I'm on the preset for Logic, when I push these buttons, they work as transport controls, just like before. And when I move these faders, they control the dynamics of my orchestral libraries. And I use this group to change the volume of the selected track or to mute or solo it. So everything is working just the way I used for many years. Now let's say I want to use it for my keyboard setup. For this I'm using my own app, GigWiz Hub. It's an audio unit host with so many cool features that I needed on the stage. It works with different modules that I can layer or split. I can quickly create rich sounds using send and insert effects. Now when I switch to GigWiz Hub preset, my device is sending completely different MIDI data. The faders are controlling the volumes of my modules, and I use these buttons to toggle the modules and effects. These knobs are my send effects, and I use this row to select voices in module A, and this row is for the module B. And I also use the transport buttons for the module C. This wasn't possible with the original Korg editor because it doesn't support the program change messages and it doesn't have the radio groups feature. Now let's say I want to play an organ patch and I want to control the drawbars using these faders. Instead of editing them one by one, I can just use the batch mapper. I just enter the starting CC number and NanoBridge handles the rest for me. For this one I will put 72. So right now these faders are sending CC messages from 72 to 79. Let's save this as a new preset and choose an organ patch. Then we need to assign the faders to the drawbars inside the settings of the instrument. I already have a setup like this, going from 72 to 79. So right now, if I move these faders, they are going to control the drawbars. And the best thing is, if I switch to my first preset, these faders are still controlling my module volumes. Of course, when I'm playing live, I don't want to look at the screen to change the presets. And if you don't have another device for that, you can use any of these buttons to change the presets. Right now, I will sacrifice track left and right buttons for this job. I'm selecting preset B and C and then I save. Of course, we need to copy these to the other preset. So right now, I can jump between these two presets using these buttons. And the best thing is, all the LEDs and the toggles are staying updated. So it's really easy to make a new setup like this. Let's say you want to use the knobs to control different synth parameters. You just go to Batch Mapper and in 2 seconds you have a complete new setup. I originally built NanoBridge for my own workflow, but since nanoKontrol2 is still being used in so many live and studio setups, I decided to make it available to everyone. I'm planning to keep improving NanoBridge, and one of my goals is to add more devices into it. So if you have a favorite controller from any brand that you wish had this kind of flexibility and features, let me know in the comments which one I should look at adding next. I have also made a new website recently. If you go there, you can check detailed information about these projects. If you have a nanoKontrol2 and you want to improve your workflow using NanoBridge, you can find the link down in the description. Thanks for watching.